Hello, hello, and welcome back to another Roadish podcast. As always, my name is Arun, and with me today
Oh, come
is
on, bro. Make up
what?
your mind. Sometimes you say my name, sometimes you don't. You're never clear on this shit,
Yeah,
bro.
I'm giving you agency. This is you growing up
Ah,
now. Okay, I'm giving you
ah,
agency. So introduce
thank you.
yourself properly.
Thank
Go
you.
for it.
He's obviously here with me, the top G, uh, Almond.
Okay, I shouldn't give you any agency. I fucked up. I'm sorry. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Oh,
Oh,
Jesus. So we've obviously started off reasonably well, and I'm gonna do a little bit of I suppose not a premise, something to start us off of why we're maybe in the mood that we're in is because, as always, we're recording on the day that this is meant to be uploaded, and I'm gonna apologize formally now. It's not going up on the Friday, it's gonna go up on the Saturday, okay? Because, Armin, do you wanna tell us why?
okay, so obviously, because I'm a very important man and I'm obviously a very busy man, I had places to be and I couldn't be here to record the podcast any sooner. So right now it is 20 past 8, and we are recording right now instead of
Yeah.
recording where we should at like 6.
Yeah,
You know?
usually we aim for about 6-ish or so. I like how we changed the day because I was like, "Oh, I finish work early on a Friday, I can get it all done, and if we end up recording on that day, then cool, we've got all the thing." But essentially, it means that I've got the extra time to be able to make sure it uploads okay and all the sounds all right and gives us a little bit more time. No, fuck all of that, out the window. Doesn't matter anymore. Here we are on the day, late, recording, let alone uploading it. So, hello, everyone.
That's
Uh,
that's the fun of it.
yeah, exactly. So it's all good. Anyway, while you've been such a busy man, why don't you fill us in on some stuff that you've been going on? What's been going on with you?
Uh, let me think of some things I can reveal.
Okay, well, while you do that, I'm going to give a quick update to what I've mentioned before.
Go for it.
I've massively cut down on the smoking. It's because it was hard to start with for the first few days. Not going to lie, had a few headaches here and there. Um, But in general, actually not too bad. I am still vaping because I feel like I've weaned myself off. I had to accept that my willpower for that particular thing wasn't quite gonna cut it with being able to just go cold turkey. I've done it before and then I started about 6 months again afterwards. And yeah, it didn't go too well. But here we are, I'm vaping. Everything's fine, going all right. I've got my arbitrary goals and this and the other. And for anyone who has heard us before and will be listening again with stuff that we've mentioned with work and whatnot, my work has gone to an absolute shithole. So I'm gonna be looking for a new job in the new year. So that's gonna be fun. So there'll be stuff in the future that we'll be going over. But anyway, Armin, what have you been up to?
Us.
Why are you late?
So I have been constantly on the hustle because I have decided that I want to start making money myself instead of having to work for someone. So it's like it's constantly hustling, constantly trying to get clients, cold calls every day. I'm trying to get at least 20
You're
cold calls
cold
a day.
calling. You're cold
Yes,
calling. Jesus
yes,
Christ.
yes,
Okay. Do people
yes.
even like accept cold calls from like landlines and stuff anymore?
Yeah, but then not from lines. It's anyway. It
Hmm.
doesn't matter. It's like I'm trying to make my own source of income. I'm trying to become financially free and time free and location free or whatnot. Uh, but yeah, and obviously I've been very busy and going to the gym and eating right and doing all being being a good human. it's
Okay.
it's it's been taking a toll on the time that I have during a day.
Maybe now you have slightly more of an understanding of why I put so much pressure on myself to be uh socially kind of included of like taking the time to go and do these things as as has been an issue in the past that I've had to take time away. And I know I'm shitting on you a little bit here, but not really that
That's
much.
fine.
Okay. Not
That's
not
fine.
massively.
That's fine.
Because I know that I have like things that I want to go to, and like being out of the house is something that's massively important. So hopefully that comes across. I feel a lot better with myself, and I'm sure that you will over time as well with just taking up other opportunities to be able to do things like that.
Mm.
Which is completely the opposite of what we're going over today of our favorite TV shows, of essentially staying inside and ignoring everyone to watch a TV show. So we were originally going to do either the top 5 or top 10 like IMDb things that were similar to what we've done in the past. I can't remember what that was over. Was that
It was
movies?
it was movies.
Movies of the movies. So instead of that, because we're not actually too familiar with the ones that are on the top IMDb list, We're going to we've picked three of our own favorite TV shows. I
Yeah.
wouldn't say there's really a ranking, but I've put mine in a ranking of the third best, the second best, and the first. I don't know what you've done. Have you done something similar?
Mine as like the situation, like every single one when I've watched them, I thought they were the absolute best.
Okay.
When I watched them, I was like, "Oh, this is the best shit ever." And then when I watched the other one, I was like, "Nah, this is the best shit ever." Like every single time.
Okay, it's been
I
updated as you've gone through.
Yeah, they're all great series, and I really, really enjoyed every single of them. One of them.
Okay. So essentially, what we're going to do is I don't think we've told each other. I know how I haven't said mine. I can't even remember what yours are if you did say them.
Yeah.
And we're going to do kind of a quick, like brief summary, essentially, of what the TV show is about. Some people will know, some people won't. I've tried to pick stuff that's reasonably, I'd say, recent-ish, maybe. Some of them, one of them, mine is a bit niche, uh, but I think it was big enough that it justifies it anyway. Do you want to go first, or shall I?
I'll go first this time.
Yeah, go for it.
So my current favorite TV series that I've finished, and it was so good. Every single episode, it just kept you on the edge of the seat. Was Suits. Now,
Suits. Good.
yes, yeah. Some
Really
people,
good.
some people hate it because like, oh, it's not realistic. You don't lie to clients. Like, yeah, shut the fuck up. It's a TV series. It's enjoy it for what it is. I can't lie to you. I've never been so emotionally invested in a TV series other than Suits. It just kept me on the edge of the seat every single episode. In and out, bro. I was up to like 6 in the morning watching this shit. It was so good.
Jesus. I watched the whole thing. I've watched every single episode because I believe all of
Yeah.
it is still on Netflix.
Yes, it very much still is.
Yeah, it is all still on Netflix. I believe that's where I watched it the whole thing through. And I
Yeah.
did very much the same way, like binge it until stupid o'clock in the morning. Do you want to give a quick summary? See if you can sum it up as best you can.
Okay, so you have this guy Mike who has a photographic memory who goes and does tests for people. So like he'll write the other person's name on the paper and does them because he knows all the answers, and people pay him for that, and that's how he makes money. But he wants to be a lawyer, and he has a scholarship at Harvard, obviously, but his scholarship gets taken away when he gets caught, selling tests. Um, and then, so then he just turns to dealing drugs. And then one day, while he was dealing, he noticed two like undercover policemen in a hotel, and he had to sneak into an interview room for a massive law firm. And because when he went in the interview room, the guy was like, "Oh, you never even went to Harvard, let alone to any law school. Um, why would we hire you?" And then Harvey, the guy who was hiring, also this incredible lawyer in the series,
Mhm.
goes, uh, "You don't know the first thing about law." And then Mike just starts reciting the the legal handbook that Harvey had on the table from whatever page he opened that. And Harvey was very impressed and hired him, even though he never even passed the bar. And then their adventures and how they like try to not get caught because then Harvey could get this bar, then he could lose his job, and like all of this stuff and involvement of the law firm and fighting and all that stuff. It's very, very, very good series. And if you haven't watched it, you definitely should.
Yeah, it's highly recommended. I really, really enjoyed it. I was going to add a little bit of a premise there is that this particular law firm only hire from Harvard, so
Yeah,
they do
they
Harvard
only
candidates.
yeah they
And
only hire from Harvard.
yeah, so it's one of those. I think the scene that you're on about, I really like as well when they turn up in the hotel room.
Yeah,
Is that he's reeling off the legal terminology like word for word from the book while he's playing solitaire because he thought he sits down at a desk with a laptop in front of him and he's like, yeah, but you have a laptop you're using the internet, blah blah blah. He turns the screen around, he's playing solitaire, but he's also reciting the legal stature of what he's been asked to recite. It was a really good scene. I think actually it's made a resurgence on TikTok. I've seen quite a
yeah,
few clips of
yeah.
little segments of it and people putting up in parts. Obviously, copyright issues
Now,
there, but there we are.
right, I'm gonna say something right now. I have uninstalled TikTok for it was taking too much of my time. But now
Yeah,
now I'm on Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts all the time.
you
So
just move from one to the other. You
I
haven't
have
actually
done.
solved anything.
I haven't solved any problem whatsoever.
Yeah, no, it is one of those. There's always going to be things like that. The thing that they've done on TikTok now, just as a quick side tangent, is that the app Be Real.
Oh yes, I
Um,
use Be Real. It's
Yeah, so
it's very nice.
TikTok now has a section called Now. It's essentially the same
Oh
thing,
lord.
but you can't view other people's nows until you post your own. So it's like an
Yeah,
encouragement to be like, you can view everyone else's. I don't know if Be Reals works the same or
they
whatever.
it's exactly the same. So like, because you get a notification, right? And then
Hmm.
when a notification comes, that's where you're supposed to take your B reel. But then if other people take it, but if you don't take yours, you can't view other people's.
Yeah, so TikTok have done exactly the same, but obviously they're going to do things like that and just rename it, rebrand it because they can. In Chinese, they still
Yeah.
IP all the time. There's a good third choice, shall we say? But Suits, really good show, highly recommended. All the whole thing is on Netflix. I don't know if it's in the US. Obviously, we're in the UK. Um, but yeah, the how did you feel? Just at one last bit on it. How did you feel about when Mike and small spoiler, spoiler? Everyone who's like
Spoiler.
should yeah, just gonna make sure this is gonna be a spoiler bit. Okay, cool. You should have like skipped ahead by this point. Right? How did you feel about when Mike left and then they finished off and he came back for like what two episodes as a cameo?
I I feel like the series was still good. It lost a slight bit of its essence, but
Yeah.
I saw the technical part of why he left, and
Hmm.
then I saw the story part of why he left, and I understood it. And I felt like they did a great job of carrying on his story, carrying the story without Mike there.
Yeah. Well, because they obviously they started with him being set up as like one of the main characters. Obviously, him
Yeah,
being for anyone who doesn't know as well, Meghan Markle's in it. Obviously, there
yeah.
was a very obvious world reasons of why she left a TV show. But yeah, it's good. It's a decent TV show. I would definitely recommend it. It's not something that I would jump to, but it is definitely very, very good. Um, right, I'll go into my number three, which is very, very different. Uh, this is my niche esque kind of thing, as it's something that I will go out of my way to actually watch. It's 24 hours in A&E, and I have no idea why. It's just something that I'm obsessed with. How much do you know about 24 hours in A&E?
You
Oh
could hear
no.
my keyboard right now.
You
Oh,
yeah,
oh,
the
this
Channel
yes,
4 show. Yeah, yeah, so
yeah,
it's
yeah,
real life. So, as a quick summary, I'm gonna probably butcher this, but it's essentially like small cameras, no camera crew in the way of, like, actual medical emergencies, um, essentially like a day in the life of different people on the staff of NHS in A&E departments. I believe the one that they're at is St. George's in London, I think, and it will just take you through the day. So you'll run into a wide range of people. Usually, the TV show focuses on maybe three or four people, with maybe one or two people that have come in for slightly, I'd say, like minor issues, if you will. Someone's had an accident at work or something, and be like, "Oh yeah, I've done something to my hand," or like, "Oh, I've fractured my wrist, and but I'm still fine." But then there'll be the big actual emergencies, red phone goes off, one of the nurses will answer it, and essentially it'll be how they respond to these particular circumstances and these events and how people deal with it. There's a few little sections where they'll do like a behind the scenes of how they're thinking through this process. They'll then do follow up interviews, or they'll do interviews of family members of people that have been involved, sometimes of the people that have been involved. Unfortunately, it is one of those that they deal with quite a lot of old people, and by the end of the TV show, that they will say that they have unfortunately passed away months later or something along those type of lines. Um,
Aw.
yeah, it's wholesome, but also could be like quite heartbreaking. But like it reminds
Yeah.
my black soul that I can feel something. So I can't really complain that much, but it's a little bit different from, say, the dramatized TV shows that I've put for the other two, and maybe a lot of like soaps or things like that. It's not really the typical thing, but I mean, it's been going for like 17 seasons or something mental, so it's obviously
Yeah,
doing pretty well.
yeah, but that's the most thing though. With that's the thing with most reality shows, they go on for stupid amount of seasons. Look at, for example, there's this thing in Romania, right? It's like Master Chef, right? It's very similar, right?
Right.
It's on like season 42.
Jesus Christ! So it's just
It's
constant.
it's just constant, bro, and
Yeah.
it's like, it's good. It's good. My father watches it, but it's like it get boring after a while, and it's like there's only that many things you can cook and reinvent and
Yeah.
recook and like, but I can't argue. That's
Yeah.
what some
No,
people
that's
like.
fair.
And anyway, Shall I continue with mine? I have no questions about yours. I know exactly what it is. I am fully
No, that's
aware
fair.
what it is, and I've actually watched it a few times.
Yeah, go for it. You may as well do your number two. What? So
Right.
yeah, what have you got lined up for the
Um,
second?
for number two, I have White Collar. Now, White Collar,
Wow.
what?
Okay. I haven't watched White Collar for years. I remember finishing that. I have also seen it.
Oh no, I've watched it a few years back. Obviously,
Hmm. Yeah.
it's so incredibly good, and here's why.
It's very
It's
clever.
it's very 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 clever because it doesn't tell you what's gonna happen next, right? The main character, which I can't, what's his name?
I can't remember the names. It's so long ago since I watched them.
Let me Google this shit.
Yeah.
White.
But essentially it's like a
Right,
con
Neil.
artist who
Yeah,
Neil, yeah. He's
yeah,
like a con artist, isn't he? He gets put
yeah,
under the supervision of an FBI agent.
yeah. So Neil Caffrey, that's his name.
Hmm.
Oh, I love this series. I'm probably gonna start watching it again. Right. So this guy he's the smartest person in the room at all times. He will con you in ways you didn't even know you could be conned. And what I really 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 liked about the series, it was the ending. Now, massive spoiler alert. The ending was so incredibly well done that I believe it just made the series like 100 times better.
Yeah, for the way that they did it. I think I can remember a bit of it, but I'm not gonna go into it because I don't wanna be wrong.
I'm
But
I'm gonna I'm gonna go slight into it because I remember it quite well. Spoiler alert: this is how the series ends, and if you
yeah.
watch this without watching the series, you're most likely an idiot. I mean, you're not because you watch. You're not because you watch our podcast.
Yeah, of
But
course.
if you don't, but anyway. So in the end, I remember he has this massive fight over this fake heist he's supposed to pull off to catch his competitor that he's helping the FBI catch. Anyway, and he he pretends to get shot so
Mhm.
that his fake body gets carried out to the hospital and in the morgue, and then he actually manages to escape with all of the money and escape off, and then he goes and lives a happy life in Paris.
Yeah,
And
he
it's
essentially
like,
escapes the supervision of the FBI.
yeah, and it's like the way it ended and the whole story before that is just amazing.
Yeah.
And recently, one of the actors in the series, and I say recently, this was actually quite a bit ago, uh,
Mhm.
Willie Garson, who played Mozzie in the series, he died last year
Oh, no. Oh, right, okay.
in the
Oh, yeah,
21st.
yeah, his, like, con artist friend.
Yeah, he's gone out his
Yeah,
friend.
yeah.
He
Oh, no
died
way.
last year. Yeah,
Oh, damn. Didn't know that one.
yeah,
Um, anyway, for time restraints, we'll skip ahead to the next one.
but yeah. We'll
I'm
compare to the next one. Come on, Rune.
So my second is Line of Duty. Um, now I
Ooh.
don't know what it is about like police thriller dramatized TV shows. I really really like them. I don't know why. Things like Mindhunter on Netflix. The invention of the term serial killer. Maybe is a little bit more dramatized than Line of Duty, but I think Line of Duty try and keep it as real as they possibly can. But it's essentially a a guy who is in charge of a FBI kind of like esque SWAT team in the UK are trying to take down possible terrorists in the UK, and he makes a massive mistake. He essentially gets like investigated because the door number of a particular this is all the first episode. The door number has broken and it gives them the wrong door number, so they charge and break in and essentially end up killing the wrong person. Um, becomes a big investigation internally, and the main character who then has to get reassigned, he gets reassigned to internal investigations. And the way that the TV show works is essentially two lines of story are happening at the same time. You'll end up with the internal investigations team looking at someone who we also see as the audience committing like corruption or I don't know, negligence within the police force, and it's how they unravel it, and they interview, and how they talk to and get information out of people, and it's all based around like the interrogation room of how they're able to use the resources they've got within the building and within this task force that have been put together for internal investigations. Um, and they get quite a name for themselves because it unravels into this big, almost like conspiracy theory esque of how many people are joined together in this like weird ring of crime and organizations, and it just unravels more and more and more. Um, and that ends up being like an overarching story while they're also trying to deal with like individual cases through each season. Um, rather unfortunately, it has ended. I don't know if they're doing. I think it would be a fourth one. It's either a fourth or a fifth. I'm not too sure.
It would be a seventh season.
A seventh. Damn, I didn't actually realize there was that many. So that kind of goes to show that I binge watched the fuck out of all of them. That I lost track of how many people are in it. Some of the people who are being investigated as like corrupt police officers are also quite big um actors. Not to say they started off in that position, but I recognize them from other other acting roles and whatnot. Um,
Right.
but the team work really, really well together. It's really engaging. Like I was drawn in. Like I have to find out what happens. Again, it's another one of those TV shows that you can very easily binge quite quickly. And I'm not going to give any spoilers for that one. It's really, really good. Again, highly, highly recommended. But obviously, I enjoy that kind of thing anyway.
Right. I I've heard of it, never seen it.
You've never seen
That's all I have to say
You've
about it.
never seen Line of Duty?
Nope.
I would recommend it if you're into
Nope.
police stuff. If you're into, like, slightly
Um,
more gritty, like,
mm,
darker side police stuff, then maybe, but obviously it's not for everyone.
right. Now, on my third one, right? Because we're obviously very short on
Yeah,
time.
we're good.
It's I have there's two, but I don't know which one to pick because they're both so incredibly good, and I enjoyed both of them so much. Right? There's Fringe. Have you
I
heard of Fringe,
haven't.
Rune?
No, I don't know what Fringe is.
Oh, oh, you're missing out, dude. It's not on Netflix,
Okay.
unfortunately. It's you have to get it off some dodgy website or.
Well, it'll be on I'm sure it's
But
like an on-demand thing somewhere exists or something like that.
probably, but it's good. It's very good, right? Even though you can't get it on Netflix, it's a good series.
Mhm.
And Orange is the New Black. Now, hear me out.
Oh, no,
Some people
I've
said
heard
it's
really good things. It just I've watched, like, maybe 2 or 3 episodes, like, sparingly. It just wasn't my thing. I don't know why. It just didn't capture
the
me.
first season is dog shit.
I don't know which bits
I'm gonna say
I
this
don't
right
know
now.
which bits I would have seen. Um,
Right, if you probably started with the first season, like every normal
no,
person would.
a ex-girlfriend of mine was obsessed with it and watched it, like, almost on repeat,
uh,
and just, like,
oh,
stuck
okay.
on random episodes and whatnot, so I don't know what parts I've seen.
Okay, fair enough. Right. The first season is, in my opinion, is dog shit. It's like the story of how this woman goes to prison for carrying drug money one time, and it's like, once she begins to go into prison and she's a newbie and like she gets bullied around and like it's shit. But once she gets to be a bit tough and built up and starts to learn the ways around the ways of the prison and shit gets good.
Okay.
You should watch it.
Alright.
That's all I'm gonna say about it. But now I want to talk about Fringe because I really, 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 really like Fringe.
Go on, give a quick summary of
It's
what Fringe is, and then I'll do my last one, and then we'll wrap up.
right. Fringe. It is a supernatural, sci-fi drama, mystery, thriller, science fiction, FBI series.
Pick one, Jesus Christ, what?
It's
So sci-fi,
every-
supernatural, police involvement, American thing.
yes, very
Okay,
much so.
right.
Right now, you have the what's it called? So here's how this works. So there's in this series, there's two parallel worlds, right?
Right.
Supposedly, and in one of the worlds, you have obviously right words. Edit
Oh,
this bit
no,
out.
you fucked yourself. Now I'm keeping it. Right. Try and think of how you would describe how you'd get into it. Like, right, I'm watching the TV show. What can I expect to kind of happen? Like, what kind of supernatural stuff am I going
Okay.
to come across?
Okay. So you have this scientist uh, who who they take out of an insane asylum because everyone thinks he's insane when he is not because he's just extremely extremely
Hmm.
smart. And you take him from there, but he says, "I will only work for you if you get me my son." Now his son is a massive con artist and very smart, very similar to Neil Caffrey,
Okay.
right? So they go and take his son from Afghanistan or Iran or wherever the hell he's doing his business and bring him over. Now, this scientist, right, he obviously deals with all types of
Hmm.
stuff. And the series is very smart in the way it operates. And each, like, pretty much each episode is another case, another thing, another
Okay.
something. But it is a small thing. In every episode, there's a little bit of like a lot of the larger plot in a
Okay.
way.
This sounds
You know
very
what I mean?
stereotypical,
So
kind of like this is similar to Line of Duty, where there's like an overarching plot line, but they do little bits in between other episodes,
yeah,
and like
yeah.
you hear hints and be like, "Oh, this relates to this." Yeah, it's one of those.
So you have these people called the
Mhm.
observers. They have no hair on the body. They're absolutely nothing. They are bulletproof. You can only shoot them like extremely fast. Like they develop a gun later on in the
Mhm.
series. The science that they also gun which like shoots extremely fast, and that's the only way you can actually kill them because they're pretty much immortal,
Right. Okay.
right? And they can travel through time, and there's like a whole congress of them, right? But they all, as the name suggests, they only observe,
Right.
right? And you see them everywhere in the series. Like if you pay attention through the even in the first episode, you can see one if you pay close enough attention,
It's almost
right? And then at one point,
like cameos or like Easter eggs that you have to spot for. Okay.
yeah, pretty much. So as you progress through the series, the observers become more and more
Mhm.
prevalent, and they at one point they start interacting with them, and they start being like, then once you interact with them, then you're in trouble because you shouldn't do that,
Right. Okay.
right? Because now they like interfered with time because as the name suggests, they're only there to
Yeah.
observe,
Okay.
right? So because they've talked to you and interacted with them, they interfered with the timeline.
All right. Okay.
So and then the Congress. There's one of them. They have numbers for names. They obviously don't have names. I can't remember exactly what number he had or name or whatever. And he helped one of the scientists, the scientist a lot, and the woman that is in there to like travel in between the two worlds, the two parallel
Yeah.
worlds, and to like change the timeline a little bit. And he gets chased down, and they're trying to protect them. And then at one point, this all has an overarching plot because the two worlds were going to collide and then going to create mass catastrophes and
Mhm.
whatnot. So what the observers were trying to do was trying to prevent that by helping them, right? But
Okay. Thinking with it.
because of that, because he interacted, he changed time, and that is allowed against the rules. It's a very complicated series, and it's hard to explain without like you have to watch it
Okay.
to understand
Yeah.
it. And I've watched it 3 times, and I still don't have a full grasp of it.
Jesus Christ. This, yeah, it seems massively complicated in a fun way, but like in a holy shit, what the fuck is going on way.
It's I oh it's and it only has how many seasons does it have? It only has 5 seasons, right? The first 4 seasons are very you know in the plot, but the fifth season
Mhm.
they did something different. They did a timeline where the observer gets caught, and then the observers decide, oh, you know what? Fuck everything. We're gonna overpower everyone and take over the world.
Okay. Hmm.
So they take over the world and come from every single dimension and just take over this one dimension and just make it theirs because they're pretty much invincible.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, that seems messy for one, but interesting. Um, I'll give it a try if I can find it somewhere. By the sounds of what you said, it's obviously quite hard to find, but I will. I'll see what we
I'll
can do.
uh,
We'll see if we can give some info
I'll
maybe in the
I'll
next.
find a link and I'll send you a
Yeah, that's
link
cool.
to
So
it
maybe
that
in the
you
future,
can
if
get it.
we're able to add it into, if I do end up watching a little bit of it and have some time to be able to do so, then we'll revisit it on in a upcoming episode and see if I can put it together into some degree that I can actually understand what the fuck is going on. But yeah, it sounds pretty interesting. Um, all right, my final one before we head off, House. This is probably the most
House as
House,
in
as in
Doctor
yeah,
House.
Doctor House. So obviously the TV show
Oh,
is House
okay,
MD
okay.
or just House, like I'm just knowing it as just House. Or but for anyone who doesn't know, quick synopsis. Fuck, how do you even explain House? So in the medical field, there is the actor Hugh Laurie plays an American called House who has a um, drug addiction, but also in the very same similar vein, the smartest guy in the room, but also needs some sort of social interaction to be able to bounce ideas off of. But it's almost like an ego boost for him. His addiction both to drugs and the puzzle of the medical condition. He takes on very, very specific cases that are typically a bit out there is the best way I can try and describe it. And obviously it's going through the differentials and trying to reach that diagnosis of what matches all the symptoms of whoever it is. Sometimes their life is on the line immediately. Other times it's like, okay, we can actually just improve this person's life to such a degree that he tries to get around certain ethics to be able to do so. So it becomes a little bit messy here and there. I'm sure most people that have watched any form of TV show from maybe like 2004, I don't know when it ended, but it was on for so long. I don't even know how many seasons there were of that. Massively successful, really, really good TV show. I do have a quick backstory for one particular time I was rewatching all of it. So I wanted to start at the beginning and watch the whole thing through. I can't remember what year it would have been, but I want to say it was 2019 into 2020. I was watching it
Mm.
right before midnight as the year was about to change. Um,
Oh, okay.
and I was halfway through an episode and I was like, okay, cool. Very quickly, going to pause it 10 minutes before the whole New Year show in London with all the fireworks. Paused it, watched that on the BBC and watched all the fireworks show and this, that, and the other. It wasn't anything special. Um, and then went to the other TV that I was watching it upstairs because I went downstairs to watch the show and whatnot with other people, and went back upstairs, clicked play, and it wouldn't load. I was like, "What the hell's going on here?" So I was like, "Okay, I'll just close the whole player because usually I stream it from my phone to something like a Chromecast or something that will pick up that kind of device. Use my phone as a TV remote." Tried to find it on Netflix. At the turn of the new year, they took it off Netflix. So I was halfway through an episode, and I was like, "Are you serious? Like, actually, what the fuck?" There was no, "This is gonna be removed in 24 hours. This is gonna be taken away in 2020," or this, that, and the other. I think that was the year anyway. But oh god, I was pissed off. I think I was in, like, season 3 or 4 at the time, so I wasn't even anywhere near the end. I was like, "Okay, well, that's just been taken.
Yeah.
Fuck this then." So, yeah, that was, rather annoying. But with that, that was our top 3 TV shows. Uh, don't do any of what we've just said. You should be more social, go outside, touch grass. Um, but as always, thanks for listening to the podcast. We overran a little bit, but we're all right. We're all right for time. Did pretty well in that. I think our synopsis were pretty decent as well. We kind of know what we're on about when we're watching TV shows, hopefully. Uh, as
Hopefully.
always, social links are in the description. If you want to click on any of them, one thing that I will quickly say for anyone who has listened to this point, this is actually episode 10. The last one wasn't.
Oh. Oh,
We messed up
yeah. Yes.
massively. So, yeah.
No. I messed up
Well,
massively.
okay.
It's
We
my
should have
bad.
checked at the time, but yeah, this is actually episode 10. So hopefully, actually now there will be some stuff posted on socials. If we end up with like little clips here and there, then we
I
might take
I
some
did
shorts or something. But fuck it.
yeah, I did the start like oh, I need to reinstall TikTok then because we obviously have TikTok account.
Well, you can do if you really want. It depends on whether we end up posting on there or not. I don't know. Maybe we're just that lazy.
I can definitely start posting on Instagram and I can
Okay,
get
there you go. There's an
off.
actual reason now to click into the description and have a look at the social links.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we'll be missing.
I'll start properly posting on Instagram.
Sweet, awesome.
Yeah.
Right, until next time. Sorry the pod.
Thank you for your
Yeah, that
time.
one. And sorry that the podcast came out late. We'll see you next week. Hopefully, maybe I don't know. Maybe life will get in the way. Who knows by this point?
If as long as we don't die, we're probably gonna see you next week.